we're doing the project on Bess.
Yep.
We just have a few questions we'd like to ask Hanna.
Yep, go for your lot.
Yeah. Do you know about Bess's foal?
Yeah, we didn't know when we were researching Bess. There was a big gap from 1922 when we knew she was at the Army headquarters at Trentham with her owner Colonel Poles, till 1930 when she reappeared when he took over as superintendent of Flock House, which is west of Bulls. It's a farm training establishment. And we tried to find what happened in that 8 years, and it took months and months, and then just a chance remark by somebody, and they were talking about how Bess had been on the Marshall property at Tutatotra, which is north of Bulls on the state highway, just off the state highway, and they also have another property up there called Motakowai, or Motakowai, whatever, I don't know, it's got an H in it, but I got hold of the chap that owned Motakowai, and he had some pictures of Bess saddled up outside the stables there on the farm. And then I found out that the owner of Tutatotra, the present owner, is Roger Marshall. The Marshall family were great friends of Colonel Poles, and when the Colonel was superintendent of the Wairau Army camp at World War II, he used to go and see them, and he and his wife were married in the Marshall farmhouse. So lots of talking and digging, and we found out that she had 4 foals.
Oh, wow.
3 were to a thoroughbred Arab stallion, and 1 was to a Welsh pony. Now, one day when I went to the flag lowering ceremony at the RSA cemetery in Otaki here, and there was a lot of people, and they all went, and there were 2 old ladies, so I stayed to make sure they were going to be okay before they left, and one of them came along on a walker, and I realised it was Nan Simcox. Now Nan, she's 100 years old, just last December. Her father was Colonel King, who was killed at Passchendaele on the 12th of October 1917. He was killed by friendly fire. He was up on the front line observing the artillery barrage for General Russell, and the gun slipped in the mud, and the trajectory changed, and all the New Zealanders got killed by their own fire. Okay, now Nan stopped to talk to me. I was a bit surprised, and she said to me, "Didn't see you at the dawn parade this morning. Not like you not to be there. I looked everywhere and I couldn't see you." And I said, "Well, I'd been in Wanganui for 2 days on business, and I came back to Bulls and stayed with a friend at the RSA house, and we went to the dawn parade at Bulls, and then I went out to the service for Bess." And she goes, "Oh, Bess, you know, I can remember when I was just a little girl about 6, going in a hansom cab from our home in Kilburn down to King's Wharf to see the horses come home." And I said, "You said the horses, Nan?" And she goes, "Yes, there was Poles's Bess, and General Russell's Dolly, and my father's horse Nigger." And she stopped for a minute. She was thinking, she can't remember the name of the other horse or who owned it. "I'm 98, you know, I can't remember everything." Anyway, I was talking to Colonel Poles's granddaughter, Felicity Moran, who lives in Tauranga, and I happened to mention that I've been talking to Nan, and she told me about the 4 horses. And I said, "Nan's the only one alive that we know of that's actually seen Bess." And she said, "Oh no, I've got a picture of me when I was 11 months old sitting on Bess's back." Okay, and yeah, I'll just finish my story there. Okay, and I said, "Well, what else have you got?" "Oh, a picture, you wouldn't want these." "Well, what have you got?" She said, "Oh, I've got one with Bess with her foal from the Welsh pony. You wouldn't need that." And I said, "Oh, absolutely I do. What else have you got?" She said, "Oh, we've got the letter to General Headquarters asking to send the horses home, and then we've got their army discharge papers. Right, send them to me." And she emailed me, I had them. So there was the evidence that 4 horses came home, and there was the evidence. The Welsh pony was named Janie, and the Colonel kept the foal, and when he was on the farm at Te Horo, down the end of Swamp Road, Sims Road, bordered in that area, and when he died in 1951, the executor of the will got rid of the farm, sold the farm, shot Janie, boom, she was getting on a bit. They didn't ask if anyone wanted her, and that was the end of Janie, and that was the end of Bess's line. We don't know where the other 3 foals moved on to. We've got one of our group members whose mother researches Welsh ponies and the father researches thoroughbreds, Arab stallions, and we've asked them, but we haven't heard anything back, so there might not be evidence. We've been invited by the New Zealand Racing Conference to go and have a look at the thoroughbred books, but there's a great big huge room full of books. You know, you can imagine how many horses were born every year in New Zealand, so it's a needle in a haystack, so that's all we know at the moment.
Yeah, okay, cool. We were just wondering how you got involved in the group, like...
How did I get involved? That's another long story there. Back in 2004, the chap that started the service, Murray Hightaner, got a story in the Dominion about Bess, and I read it, and me loving horses and animals, I thought, oh gee, I'd like to go to that, and I never quite got there for quite a few years. Anyway, I made it to the service because I knew I was going to be in the area, and my friend Neil was there, so we went to the service, and I was actually very disappointed. There was one horse, and there was this old chap preaching the sermon, and no guest speaker, no cup of tea, nothing. And we sort of stood around for a couple of minutes, and then everyone went home. And I said to the old chap, I said, look, I've come all the way and I'm a bit disappointed, but could I help you to make this service a bit better? And he said, by all means. So we held a meeting at the Bulls RSA in December, and my friend Neil Kagenban, who's from Kapiti originally, was urging me to start a group. So we all got together in the Bulls RSA, and that's how we started the Friends of Bess. And we adopted the motto straight away to observe and preserve the memory of Bess and all the people and horses that travel with her. Like last year was awesome. The only thing we now got to get is a sound system. But we had a flag for the first time. I've managed to get a bugler. We had 22 horses, I think, last time. There was a bit of the service itself. People come from all over New Zealand. Yep.
Yeah, cool. Any questions? Do you have any questions? What breed was Bess? What breed was Bess?
Your father was an Arab stallion. He was a thoroughbred. Saracen was his name. And the dam, the mare was Miss Jury, and she was also an Arab. Now, because of that Arab connection, they named her Zil, which means in the name of the God Most High. It's Muslim. And it's a power beyond the grave. Bess has a power that there's certain individuals like Chief Crazy Horse, the American Indian chief. They are special people. Napoleon, people throughout the ages. There's every now and again a special one, and Bess is one of those.
Yeah. Do you have any others?
Did you take her a carrot or an apple?
We did, but we forgot to bring it out of the car, so yeah. We brought an apple, but we forgot to bring it out. But we got some quite good pictures of it, and we've been to the museum. And
alright. 1922, 1930 she was on the farm at Tutatotra, and then she went to Flock House in 1930, where the Colonel was the superintendent, and he used to ride her every day. He used to do the farm inspections. It's a big farm. It's only just been sold by the government, and actually given back to Ngāti Apa, the tribe that are located out there. And I had a bit of a hand in stopping the sale. It was an asset sale, and I managed to pull enough strings all by myself to stop the sale for 2 years. And that allowed the Ngāti Apa to get in and negotiate and get the farm back. But the Colonel had a little terrier, and the terrier used to rush ahead, you know, knew where he was going and that. And all the men, if they saw the dog, they'd start working again. They knew the Colonel wasn't far away, you know. Anyway, there was one day, and we've worked out the date, he was riding up the sandhill, and it must have been just too much for her. She had a brain hemorrhage. She just bang, lie down and dead, just like that. So he buried her there, and then he got the memorial. But that contribution that she made was immense. You just can't even begin to imagine what she went through. I've got a copy of the Colonel's book we managed to buy, and it talks about her, about a man and his horse, you know, and riding through all the books and what have you. Well, she did that many times, you know, and she must have been a very, very brave horse. Just a very special animal. But they all had to go through that. But yeah, it's quite a story actually.